What I'd like to do next is introduce Preith Shergill to the stage. I'd like you to take the time to read her bio, which is on page 25 of your delegate packs. Currently, Preith's in a business development role within the SET team, again, which is the strategic enabling team. Part of her numerous functions, she's also supporting commissioning work to help offset some of the budget reductions that we're all facing. Preith's worked in a mixture of commercial organisations, and she brings a wealth of experience with her into the West Midlands Fire Service. She's also been involved within ASFA for quite a number of years, previously holding the role of Vice Chair within ASFA, and she's also an ASFA award winner. So without further ado, Preith, I'd like you to welcome.
Have you ever felt stuck? It doesn't matter how hard you're trying, you just can't seem to move forward. Perhaps someone or something has become your limitation, a barrier you just feel you can't push past. Maybe you're somebody who has responsibilities, and in doing so, you've put your own hopes and dreams on the back burner. Now imagine if you had the tools to push past those barriers, to learn how to turn adversity into opportunity. Wouldn't it be great to feel that you have choice, freedom, and control? I hope by sharing my story today that I can encourage those of you who are leaders and those of you who have aspirations to tune into your own power to make a difference. Let me take you on a journey. It was June 2012, and as I was walking up to this room, my heart was pounding. My stomach was full of dread. I was shaking, and I was terrified. I'd been in this room so many times before, full of creativity and ideas and ambitions, but today was a different day. Today, as I sat across my boss, I felt small. The glass office felt like a fishbowl. I thought all of my colleagues outside were peering in and listening to the showdown. I sat there for 2 hours listening. I could feel the lights piercing into my eyes and the hot tears rolling down my cheeks. I was humiliated. My boss was a big man, a tall man, and normally he spoke really eloquently, but this was a different day. Today, his eyes were full of rage. He was angry. He accused me one thing after another. Who said you can speak to these senior managers? Don't you know they're not to be trusted? You don't really think that they care about the communities, do you? All they care about is their careers and their pensions. Who said you can do this health prevention work? I didn't say you can organise the ASFA conference. Who did you get permission from? And on and on and on he went. The more he leaned in and raised his voice, the more silent I became. After all, how do you reason with someone who isn't listening? Finally, when he paused for a short while, I said, please, can I go home? I'm just not in the right place. We can talk about this tomorrow, please. Bang! I saw his fist land on the table inches away from my face. You'll go home when I say you can go home. And in that moment, something broke inside of me. I can't quite quite remember who it was, but as I was walking out, a number of people came over to me asking me if I was okay. Are you okay? Are you okay? I just wanted to get out of there. As soon as I sat in my car, I wanted to scream at the top of my lungs. But I found that I couldn't. I couldn't find my voice. As I drove home, I thought, oh my God, how did this all end up here? So I cast my mind back to about a year and a half before. It was a good time for me. I had just started attending events nationally. I joined ASFA. I'd found a new confidence, new friends, colleagues, and networks. I shared different perspectives, and that gave me an insight into the fire service, a knowledge, a confidence to understand how the sector works. So I was full of energy. And on this one day, when I guess it all changed for me, I was sitting there with senior managers, listening to them talk about strategy, and I thought to myself, no, guys, you got this wrong. Before I knew it, my hand shot up, and then I guess I shared my views. It was a surreal moment. Those of you who are in equality and diversity will know that often we're invited to every meeting going, but seldom is our perspective truly appreciated. I guess it's because we push organisations to strive for better. After I spoke, the room fell silent. I can never forget the looks. Some of them were like, who's she? And others were like, who the hell does she think she is? And what does she know? There was the odd nod of encouragement, and then the moment passed. But I guess the critical moment for me was afterwards, when one of the senior managers came over to me. A kind, gentle man, he turned around to me and he said, Preith, I really liked what you had to say. I thought your contribution was interesting. I thought the way in which you asked people questions was thought-provoking. I hope you're going to carry on contributing like that. Wow. I was made up. I'd stepped a little bit out of my comfort zone and somebody had given me some positive feedback. I was really enthused and encouraged. After all, this manager didn't really know me, so his genuineness really touched my heart. And I did exactly that. I started to share my thoughts, not just about equality and diversity, but about the organisation, its people, leadership, our communities. I felt like I was beginning to add value. And I guess the feedback I was getting was that my opinions were appreciated, but one person wasn't very happy about this, my boss. My boss felt that I shouldn't be talking to other senior managers. He didn't like the fact that I was looking at equality and diversity from an organisational perspective. He wanted it to be through him. He told me that I needed to align, that I couldn't trust them and that I should trust him and align with him. But after all, I thought to myself, we're all working for the same organisation here. Surely what really matters is how we deliver services to the community. Boy, was I wrong. Very quickly, my efficiency-targeted team of 5 went down to 3, and before I knew it, there was just me and another, and we got shipped off to the academy, our training centre. I couldn't make sense of it. That put a stop to all my engagement. I was angry. I felt marginalised, and I felt isolated. But after a little while, I thought to myself, well, I'm here now, so I might as well see what I can make of this. And I started to reflect back on my year or so of meeting other people around equality and diversity. You see, I think sometimes we all get very caught up in the concepts of equality and diversity, the legislation, the unconscious bias. The names change, but truly, I wonder how much of that has relevance to people on an everyday level. I felt that the way in which we can appreciate diversity is by first accepting our own diversity, owning it. By owning our own difference, we can tap into our potential. And by tapping into our potential, we can appreciate the difference in others. And in doing that, we become better team players and better leaders. So, with all of these ideas in my head, I went off and joined a colleague, and we devised a program called Reaching for the Stars. And to my surprise, it really did well. Everybody who came onto it seemed to connect to their own differences and that of others. And in doing so, we'd created quite a buzz in the organisation. I was getting lots of positive feedback. That is with the exception of one person who wasn't very happy. My boss. I guess that's what led to that meeting, the showdown. After that meeting, when I got home that night, I was really distressed. I didn't know what to do. I felt like my whole career that I'd worked so hard for was slipping out of my fingers. I tried to call friends and got different advice, but ultimately I was stuck. What do? Do I go back and work for somebody who was bullying me and accept it? Do I take on a director? I'll be crushed. Or do I make a stand? After all, I'm supposed to be the custodian of equality and diversity. And if I don't make a stand, then how can I expect others to? After a lot of soul searching, I felt compelled to take action. I didn't know where it was going to end. So I wrote a letter of complaint and addressed it to the kind manager. I heard he was now on the board. I also explained how I couldn't come back and work with that individual. His response to me was quite short. Believe in the organisation and its policies. Okay. I tried to hold on to that as hard as I could over the next few days. That was until I got a letter through the post. When I looked at this letter, it said something about you're being investigated, a management investigation, disciplinary action. What? What's all this about? When I came down to it, I was being investigated for using the computer to clock in instead of using the swipe system. Actually, under the policy at the time, both was allowed, but because I was at home and I was so distressed, I actually thought I'd done something wrong. Several months passed. I felt like all my confidence was slowly stripped off me. I felt like I didn't have any dignity left. I couldn't face family and friends. I started to stay at home most of the time. And the one person I couldn't look into the eyes in was my husband. You see, we had just got married, bought a flat. This was supposed to be the beginning of our new life together. And instead, I felt like a failure. So often what would happen is that as he would get ready to go to work, I'd pull the covers over my head pretending to be asleep, hoping that he wouldn't notice I'm even there. But one morning, he came over to me, said, "Preith, can we talk?" You see, my husband's a bit different to me. I'm the one full of energy, and he's a man of steely determination. A wise man, a man of a few words, and when he speaks, he has substance. And that day, as he held my hand and looked into my eyes, I can see the conviction that I'd never seen before. "Preith, why are you letting this one person stop you? Why are you letting this one person become a barrier and limit you? Preith, you've got nothing to be ashamed of. Why are you hiding? I am so proud of you. Are you not the girl who was arranged to be married at the age of 10? You escaped that. You left home at 17 without a penny in your pocket. You went to London to try and get an education. Fortunately, you were kicked off the course because you couldn't pay for it. But even after that, you didn't give up. You went out and you got a job. And today, everything that you are is on your own stead. You're an independent woman. You've been through so much more than this. So why are you letting this one person stop you now? As he left, his words echoed in my ear. Yeah, what am I doing? I'm acting like a victim here. I hate feeling like this. No, I've got to do something about it. So I decided to apply for other jobs. And I guess by just doing that, it gave me a little bit of sense of control and encouragement again. Quite out the blue, after about 4 weeks, I got a call from work. My union rep told me that I could come back. He told me that the chief said that I was too valuable to let go of. He also told me that a certain senior manager had fought my corner and said that I can come and work in his department in operations. Well, the rest is history. I got that opportunity and I grasped hold of it. I guess I could have gone to another organisation. It's absolutely true that I still felt so humiliated. The day that I came back to work was excruciating. I felt like everyone was looking at me and could just see through me. But I felt that I had this strength inside me also, that I wanted to send a message to people. And that message was that your voice matters. I also wanted to reach out and balance my own views, that where there's people that might not be great, there's also a lot of good people, and that life isn't simple. But most of all, I'd made a promise to myself. I was never going to let anyone else determine my destination. I made a promise to always believe in myself. It doesn't matter how bad it gets. So when I went back to work, I gave my new job my all. I was lucky to join the area commander's team. I was supposed to be doing this course for 2 years, which I hadn't done much on, so I fitted it in 3 months and achieved an MCIPD. I'd missed a whole year of my course on the diploma because of being off work, but I did that too because I wanted to better myself. I wanted to make a difference. Don't get me wrong, it's never easy, because the challenges don't stop, and the naysayers don't stop, and the doubters don't stop. But you have to find ways of pushing through that. You reach out to your networks and friends like ASFA. You tune into your family and your support systems. You learn the tools along the way, and you learn from others. And I did exactly that. When after a few years, Phil started to share his ideas around the strategic enabling team, he said that he wanted to move away from the corporate board of 4 or 5 men. He said that he wanted a diverse team of different people and talents, and he wanted that to inform the strategy of the organisation. Around then, I had delivered a fantastic ASFA conference as well. I have to say that I organised it. And at that conference, I was awarded Woman of the Year. It was also at that conference I paid tribute to the person that had supported me, our Chief Officer, Phil Loach. When I was asked to join the strategic board, a lot of people said to me, "Oh, well, you're only on there because you're equality and diversity." I'm equality and diversity. No, I'm a person, by the way, but hey-ho. So you push past it. And 2 years later, when I applied for the role of business development, I was told, well, in fact, I was sat down by a senior manager and put in my place. Don't think just because you can turn heads that you can do this all by yourself. Another one sat me down and said, "I've worked here 15 years, I've got credibility, so don't think you can make this happen by yourself." But the thing is that where there's a few voices like that, there's also many more encouraging voices. I've been so lucky. I've had fantastic colleagues and friends. I've been able to make a contribution, and that contribution has been recognised. I think West Midlands Fire Service is absolutely the making of me. I wouldn't be here today if my friends and colleagues hadn't encouraged me to share my story today. And if this story enables just one person in the room, then it was worth sharing. Thank you very much.